This episode is brought to you by the future. Oatly had experts look into the future, which is totally possible, by the way, and then report back about what things will taste like when we get there. Learn about bold ideas, the dawn of decaf, and the rise of fiber in the Future of Taste report on Oatly.com. Welcome back to the Coffee Show, everybody. 2026. I hope 2025 was good to you. I hope the Christmas and New Year period was good to you. I'm excited for 2026. It hasn't really taken long for some major news to break, and that is that over the weekend, so I'm recording this on the 5th of January, so I think 2 days ago now, the United States effectively abducted or decapitated the regime of Venezuela, apprehended Nicholas Maduro and took him to New York, and are making all sorts of claims about effectively running the country now. And there's some dispute about that coming back from the Venezuelans, and honestly, I have no idea how this is going to work out. But the particular politics of it all and everyone's opinion on that, I'm not so much interested in today. But honestly, this event could be catastrophic for the coffee industry in a number of reasons, which is what I'm going to focus on today. And it's very fresh. I don't think the coffee industry has had a whole bunch of time to react to it publicly because, everyone's probably still on holidays for us that celebrate Christmas and whatnot. But anyway, I wanted to get on and talk about some things because I think it's really important that we're aware so we can plan as best we can should some of these things eventuate. And so today, as I mentioned, is the 5th of January in Australia. So it's Monday here, currently Sunday in the US. So Wall Street will open tomorrow, I think the industry will be watching what the impact of this is on the commodity market. And some of you might be watching this or listening and thinking to yourself, well, why does something like this happening to a country like Venezuela affect the coffee industry, commodity coffee prices, given that they don't produce much coffee themselves? Well, obviously the counter to that would be that they're in the region where most of the world's coffee is grown. So if I'm look to my map here, Venezuela is bordered by Colombia, one of the biggest producers in the world, Brazil, the biggest producer in the world, and then you've got Peru, Ecuador, Panama just around the corner. So there's a lot of risk, and so the actual shipment of the coffee could be, I guess, disrupted, and we all know what the impact of that can be. Say for example, the conflict escalates further, the Venezuelans don't cooperate, they agitate Trump. By now we all know how he responds to these kinds of things, and the reaction from the US is to, I guess, further bomb the Venezuelans. And then there's an incredible risk coming out of that because you kind of risk destabilizing the entire region, because I think Trump's been very critical of the Brazilian president Lula, and he's also been, I guess, almost threatening to the Colombian president, whose name I can't quite recall. But yeah, could this happen to other countries in the region? And if that does happen, that is catastrophic, a direct catastrophe for the coffee industry. And let's just stick with shipping for a second. During a lot of the wars, a lot of enemy countries would attack each other's supply lines. So, I remember watching some World War II documentaries, and German U-boats would just, continually destroy British boats that are supplying soldiers in many of their different sort of colonies or wherever their soldiers are garrisoned or whatever. And so one of the biggest crises was, German U-boats destroying them with their submarines and things like that. And so what happens if there's further escalation of conflict in the region, and then shipping is blocked through the Panama Canal? Because if we look at the Panama Canal, it moves a lot of the world's goods. And it's probably a lot of these South American countries access to Asia because they're coming over, what is that, the Pacific Ocean? Yeah, Pacific Ocean towards Asia. Sorry, just having a look through my laptop here, which would directly impact where I am, Australia. So, but that would just have, again, a dramatic effect on the global coffee price in general. But, let's not just talk about how the market would react. Let's talk about how, the literal disruption, the lowering of supply of coffee, if it were to be destroyed in, a war, that's obviously a long way off, and I'm not saying that that's imminently about to happen. But if things, escalated or got far worse, then it's not impossible. And then, but I think Trump's already said they're going to embargo Venezuelan oil, and so just I don't know, the potential for disruption of shipping in that region is very real, and it could have further inflationary pressure. Just forget about the coffee industry. It could have further inflationary pressure on the entire global economy. You look at how the war in Ukraine really impacted a lot of things at the time, because Ukraine was one of the biggest producers of fertilizers, I think. And then, people stopped buying Russian oil, other countries rather, stopped buying Russian oil. And Donald Trump, and I kind of appreciate his honesty here, he did say that the US's intention is to sell Venezuela's oil. I think his direct quotes were that we're in the oil business now. Okay, suppose that happens. Supposedly Venezuela has the world's biggest oil supply. How do the OPEC countries react to that? So that's, a lot of the oil producing countries in the Middle East and sort of Northern Europe, or Eastern Europe. What do? Do they cut production? And would that increase the price of oil? Like, there's just so much here that could really, really, really impact the global economy, and it will be huge for the coffee industry. Like, we've already across the world felt the effects of consumer spending less in a lot of coffee shops, especially in Australia. And I'm sure the coffee cafe industry has been affected all around the world. But I really worry about that, and I think that's something that we need to kind of consider as well. So the disruption rather to global shipping would be catastrophic for the coffee industry. Like, will we be able to move it through the Panama Canal? Will we be able to ship it to Asia? Will American roasters have access to coffee? Will other countries in the region support Venezuela? And a lot, no one's really disputing. Like, a lot of people don't really have sympathy for the man Nicholas Maduro being kind of arrested himself. Clearly he was not a great guy, for lack of a better words. But a lot of countries are really worried about the adventurism by the US here, and I guess the flow-on effect could be that what if these other countries have their own security concerns towards the US, and we've already got this really, really tricky to navigate situation with kind of the tariffs as well, because tariffs have been applied to pretty much every country in the world. They were, and there's a lot of uncertainty here that I think we need to kind of think about and consider going forward. And to be honest, I wish I was here with answers, but I don't have any. I don't know what is going to happen, and I look forward to sort of having some dialogue with some coffee professionals about this in the next few days, because very, very uncertain times. This is huge for the coffee industry, and I think we have no influence on what the US government does. Like, as a community, have zero influence. I think most interest groups now have experienced that. But I'm really curious about how this is going to work out, and I kind of hope that the situation improves, because if it sort of descends, if it degenerates, if it just gets worse and worse, if it escalates, if the conflict gets worse and worse and worse, then what are we looking at there? $4.50 per pound? $5.50 per pound? $6 per pound? Where do we rise to because of this? Because that's kind of realistic of happening now. The Venezuelan government has said they're not going to comply, and the Trump administration, honestly, I believe them when they say they'll do it again. And this could mean a huge increase in the commodity price for coffee if it escalates, if global shipping is disrupted, if the region becomes more unstable. And there's a very real risk of that happening as well. You look at the Middle East, right? A lot of people would acknowledge there's a lot of instability there. And it's a weird mix as well, because there's some really wealthy countries in the Middle East and there's some developing countries in the Middle East, and it's this really interesting dynamic. And then there's no reason why some of that regional conflict that happens there, we all know what I'm talking about there. There's no reason why some of that can't be happening in South America regularly if the region is destabilized in a very bad way. So, which would be disastrous for the coffee industry again. So I hope this is resolved quicker. I don't have I just have no idea what is going to happen. And I think we need to be very, very, very wary of what could happen and prepared, because who would have thought 3 years ago we'd be saying $4 per pound coffee is normal now. It'll be very interesting to see where this goes. But I would love for you to leave some comments on this when we upload this, get a dialogue happening about it. If you have some people that you think would be good interviews for this subject for me, send them my way. Let's have a dialogue on the coffee side of things, because everyone has an opinion on the political aspects of it, and I don't really want to get bogged down in that. There's so many places you can go to for that right now. But what's the impact on coffee, and what should we be wary of? How should we respond if X, Y, or Z happens? A, B, or C? Leave a comment. Love to know. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And look, all that aside, I'm looking forward to a successful, happy, and amazing 2026. I've got another podcast coming out this week, which will be kind of my what I kind of expect to happen this year. So stick around for that this week. Keep your ears peeled. But got some really good stuff in the pipeline for you. I had a really good break over Christmas time. I pretty much put the phone down. You probably would have seen a lot less content coming from me. And I can tell you that was very intentional. I had a very good break. I feel much better, refreshed, and I'm excited for 2026, and you should be too. So without further ado, we'll wrap it up there. Hooroo, tell 2 friends as well. Come on, please, tell 2 friends. Oh, and I almost forgot our sponsors. You would have heard the Oatly ads about now, but shout out to them. We've got our new coffee shop opening very soon, and it's being powered by Barista Group. So Barista Group is supplying us with the Uber Milk Plus, one of the Maki Bar Izaga grinders. It's going to be a state-of-the-art cafe, and they're like really essential to our plans there. So thank you to Barista Group. If you need some any of the best coffee equipment in the world and you're based in Australia, baristagroup.com.au. Shout out to Yosh and Joe there. Get in contact with them. They'll look after you. And then, of course, Time More, kettles, scales, grinders, hand grinders, electric grinders, everything you need for brew gear. Go to timemore.com. Time More were our first initial sponsor. They're amazing, really affordable, good brew gear as well. I have pretty much switched over entirely to the fish kettle. The pouring adjustability is just so much better than any kettle I've used. It's great, and it's probably one of the most affordable on the market for its price, for that category, that upper category of quality products today. So timemore.com if you need them. Timemore.com is the worldwide address, or you can reach out to a distributor or supplier near you. So thanks again, and we'll speak to you soon. Over. You can either listen to the third Oatly ad of the day about how you can go to oatly.com and find recipes for the amazing drinks, or read the Future of Taste report, It's from the Future, or learn about the sustainability work, or you can press the 15-sec forward button on your pod playing device. It's totally up to you.